Designing a questionnaire. There are 5 steps to designing a questionnaire. Define the problem, plan how the survey will be administered, write the questionnaire, desk check, pilot survey. It can be tempting to leap straight to step 3 and also to miss out steps 4 and 5, but this will result in a substandard questionnaire and poor data. Helen sells chocolate. She has asked us to help her design a questionnaire to help her develop a new product. We will use this as an example to illustrate the steps. Step 1. Define the problem. We can do this by answering these questions. What is the purpose of the questionnaire? This is important whether we are working for someone else or for ourselves. Who is the target population? In other words, who would we like to ask if we could ask everyone who matters? What is the information going to be used for? What exactly do you want to find out? Think about what are possible sources of variation. The purpose statement for Helen is: Helen is planning to introduce a new chocolate product. She wants to find out what type of chocolate product is most likely to be successful in the market. Helen is most interested in attracting new customers, so the target population is people who don't already buy Chocolate but do buy chocolate. The information will be used to help Helen develop new chocolate products. Helen wants to know specifically what chocolate fillings are popular and which kind of chocolate is preferred by people who spend a lot on chocolate. Helen thinks there may be variation in chocolate preference between men and women and wishes to design specifically to each market, so we'll need to ask if the respondent is male or female. Step 2. Plan how the survey will be administered. We can choose between phone, personal interview, written or online questionnaire. These methods each have different advantages and disadvantages. The method of administration affects the types of questions that can be asked. For her budget, and because Helen wants to reach more than just current customers, Helen wants to use an online survey method. This will make creating the questionnaire and doing the analysis much easier. Step 3. Write the questionnaire. Take each of the things you want to find out about and write a question for it. There are many potential pitfalls in writing questions. These are covered in another video, Writing Good Questions. Questionnaire structure is important. A good questionnaire should be interesting, easy to answer, and respectful. An informative title, clear introduction, and interesting, well-organised questions help the respondent to keep answering. The introduction needs to explain why the data is being collected and for whom. This should also explain about confidentiality of the responses. Interesting questions near the beginning help capture the attention of the respondent, and a variety of question types can help maintain interest. The demographic questions, like age, income and gender, should be left to the end. Clear instructions and sensible grouping of questions by type or topic make the questionnaire easier to answer. A questionnaire must be ethical. You must be careful not to ask questions on sensitive subjects without getting proper ethical approval or advice. Be respectful of the person's time by only including relevant questions, and say thank you at the end. Step 4. Desk check. Look at your questionnaire as if you were seeing it for the first time. Read the instructions and fill out the answers. See what could be confusing. Make sure your spelling and grammar are correct. Go through the list of things you wanted to find out and put ticks next to the questions that provide that data. Look closely at any questions with no tick and decide if they need to be in the questionnaire. Consider how you would record the responses. Generally, you make a table or spreadsheet with a row for each person and a column for each question. Check to see that your questionnaire is easy to code like this. Because Helen is using an online survey provider, much of this will be done for us. Now use what you found out from your desk check to correct your questionnaire, ready for Step 5, Pilot Survey. This is where you get some people to answer your questionnaire. These responses will not form part of the actual survey. Watch while they fill out the questionnaire. Note anything that seems confusing to them. Look at what the people have written. Ask them if they found any of it confusing, boring, or annoying. Thank them. If you've done a large pilot survey, you could do a quick analysis of the data. See if there are any questions that several people answer other to. This might mean that you need to add another response alternative in that question. Use what you found out from the pilot survey to make changes to your questionnaire. If you make lots of changes, do another desk check and possibly another pilot survey. You want your questionnaire to be good. If you follow these steps, you should end up with a high-quality questionnaire ready for administering, which will result in better data. Good survey questions. This video follows on from another video, Designing a Questionnaire. These ideas are also useful for critiquing a questionnaire or survey. It is very important that the questions in a questionnaire are well written to find out what you want to know and to avoid bias or non-sampling error. There are different types of questions. Open questions let the respondent say what they like, while closed questions give respondents a choice of response. Open questions are useful when you do not know how people are likely to respond, or when you want to avoid influencing their response. But open questions can be very difficult to analyse as there are so many different ways that they can be answered. You might think that it is easy to ask good questions in a questionnaire, but it isn't. You want to make it as easy as possible for the respondent to give you the information you want. To start with, the questions should be as short as possible. Questions need to have correct spelling and grammar. Questions should use language appropriate to the subject and the people you are asking. If you are asking experts, you can use technical language, but generally you need to keep the language simple. It is usually better to ask what a person did in a certain instance or over a certain period of time than for them to recall in general what happens. But you need to be realistic about what you can expect people to remember. And you need to define your terms. It is important to have just one idea in a question. If there are two ideas, use two questions. It is better to ask questions in positive terms if possible. Avoid a double negative, as that can be very confusing. In closed questions, you need to be careful about the alternatives you provide. You need to make it clear whether the person is supposed to choose one alternative or as many as they wish. And you need to make sure that the alternative choices do not overlap, and that they cover the whole range of alternatives. Often a category Other can be used for alternatives you might have missed. You want to avoid influencing people's response, which can lead to non-sampling error, so you need to word the question as neutrally as possible. You need to be careful if you are asking a question that may be personal or upsetting. As we described in our previous video, it is very important to check your questions with a pilot survey, as this will identify potential problems. The more effort you put into devising the questions, the better quality data you will get.